Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Machan Leira Online Smicha. There's a discussion that comes up, a halachic discussion that comes up especially during the summer months or for those who live in warm climates. Let's say your neighbor has a child that puts out a table out in front of his house and he's selling lemonade. Is there an issue with buying freshly squeezed lemonade? What issue may there be? And we're talking about lemons, but the same question applies to perhaps even more when you're dealing with sliced onions, sliced garlic, or even shredded cabbage when it's sauerkraut. All these issues are discussed in Basar B'Chalav, Siman Tzadik Vav. In Siman Tzadik Vav, it categorizes what would be a davar charif. What is a sharp item? Why is it important to know what a sharp item is? Because there are two forms of ways how taste gets extracted from a keli. One way is if you heat up the keli. If you take a pot, and the pot has within it stored milchik, fleishik, or non-kosher, if you heat up that keli, it will extract that flavor in the new item that you're cooking. Another form is called davar charif. A sharp food, a sharp item also has the way of suction that could drag out the flavor from the keli that is using it with the condition, if you put a sharp food item in a pot or a bowl, nothing is going to happen. It's not going to draw out the flavor. If you combine it with pressure, with duchka de sakina, then the knife, the pressure that the knife pushes into that sharp item, and the fact that the item is sharp, that's a combination that the sharpness of the food will extract the taste from the knife. So here our issue is, if a lemon would be considered a sharp food, then how do we know what knife they use to cut the lemon? Because maybe it's the same knife that they have in the kitchen that the goyish child, or the goy is cutting his non-kosher, and just later on he cut the lemons to make lemonade. And if a lemon is considered a sharp food, then the combination of the pressure of the non-kosher knife going into a sharp food will make the lemon extract the flavor of the knife, and the lemon becomes non-kosher. So this is a question that you have to discuss when you're talking about lemons or radishes or onions. When you're talking about cut fruit like mangoes or apples or watermelon or cantaloupe, I've discussed that in a different shir. That doesn't have the power of suction because it's not sharp. But we're dealing with a sharp food. Does a sharp food, like whatever we'll discuss, what will be a sharp food, does it have the power to extract the flavor from the knife? And we have to make sure that the knife is a kosher one. And the same will apply if the knife is milchik. Does the milchik flavor go into the onion that you can't use that onion anymore for fleishik? Again, this is a discussion. The whole Siman Tzadik Vav in Basar B'Chalav talks about that. But I want to zero in specifically about a lemon juice. Why? Because by lemon juice, it might be a category lower. In the davar charif category, what is sharp? The Gemara, when the Gemara speaks about a davar charif, the Gemara speaks about a chiltis, which is such an herb that it's so potent that an animal eats it, it punctures his lungs. That's how sharp it is. Most of our shilas of davar charif are not that way. Most of our shilas of davar charif are not in cases like that. They are lower chiltis, onions, garlic, They're not like a chiltus. They're not that sharp. Well, even in that level, the next level would be a radish, a snoin, an onion, a garlic. Lemons, according to the Shach and many other poskim, is even a step lower than the onion and the garlic. A lemon is also considered a davar charif, but it's a davar charif a little less charif than an onion and garlic and radishes. So what happens if a person cuts a lemon with a milchik knife, fleshik knife, or isser knife? Does it affect the lemon? It should affect the lemon, at least partially. It should affect the lemon. Well, there's a interesting halacha about the lemon. In Seif Dalid, over there, the Mechaber says a beautiful svara. He says if somebody made himself a large amount of lemon juice, to make a barrel's worth of lemon juice, or to make a big pitcher's worth of lemon juice, you can't do that with one lemon. You need many lemons to be cut to make lemon juice. So there you have a benefit. What's the benefit? This knife that's problematic, that he might have used, it doesn't keep on giving forever and ever. Whatever taste it has in it, at a certain time, it released all its flavor already. So yes, the first time you cut a lemon, some of the flavor of the knife went into the lemon. Possibly in the second time you cut a lemon, again, more of the flavor went in there. But by the time you're cutting the third or fourth lemon, there's no more flavor left in the knife to damage the lemons. So if you need many lemons to make lemon juice, and on the liquid from all those lemons all end up in the same jar, in the same barrel, by the time you have a finished product of 5-10 lemons in the pitcher, the problematic one is so buttle, it's already insignificant. So halacha calls this kama buttle. Kama buttle means the earlier ones, the first one or two that perhaps became a problem is already buttle in the fact that you have many more lemons cut. See, there are items that you cut once, you cut one, you cut two, so then you can't. The knife has a strong effect on the item, the davar charif that you cut. But when you're talking about lemons that you cut many, so then if you have a pitcher of lemon juice that the guy had to cut 15 lemons to make lemon juice, even if the first one or second one got affected from the knife, nevertheless, who cares? Because it's all mixed together in the bucket of lemon juice. And it's all mixed together, the problem is already dissolved. The problem is already bottled. Now, you have to know that this has a lot more issue to it, because this will depend how far are you looking at this. Are you looking at a knife as a problem that has the taste within that I'm worried about? Or are you looking at a knife as the problem that has the surface of the knife might have some leftover schmutz from the last time the guy used it? The surface of the knife is a much smaller amount. That can become bottled faster. If you're already going to say that the lemon is able to draw out flavor, then if it's drawing out from the blade of the knife, that's a much bigger amount. Well, and it runs into a double discussion, because as I said, what is a davar charif? Started from what the Gemara says, something extremely potent, and we went down to a radish, an onion, a garlic. Now we're down to lemons. Not everybody agrees that all these have the power to suck out flavor from a knife. And number three, there's another machlokes. The other machlokes is, does a knife that cuts a sharp item, does it make a difference if the knife was used within the last 24 hours or not? Some hold that only if it was used within the last 24 hours for the non-kosher, it could affect the davar charif. But if it wasn't used for the last 24 hours, especially this lower tier level of davar charif, doesn't have the power to suck out the flavor. So a combination of all these, lemon juice, that that the person cutting it, the guy cutting it, didn't just cut one lemon. he had to cut many lemons to make the lemon juice, then you're something to rely on, that the fact that even if the first or second became a problem, by the fact that you have a whole jar worth that needed 10 lemons, it's already bottled. Now what's the cheshbon of 10? I use that number. So the answer is, we need it to become bottled. The first or second lemon became a problem, but we need it to be mixed and diluted. How much does it have to be diluted? So the answer is, it needs at least roiv. The majority of the mixture has to be kosher. So if you say the first lemon got a bad dosage, so now you need 2 more kosher. If maybe even the second one got a little isser, so now to make it a majority kosher, you need at least 5 lemons. At least 5 lemons. The first 2 might have got some taste of the isser. By the time you're up to the 5th lemon that made the lemon juice, 3 of the lemons were kosher, and 2 of the lemons possibly were not kosher. You could rely on this heter. You can rely on this heter because you have a roiv. Others, however, say that 5 is not enough. You need, like the Shulchan Aruch says, mevim harbe biyachad, to dilute the taste of the non-kosher lemons that might have gotten hit. You need more than just roiv, 3 more. You need to have a lot of lemons cut, and if it's a lot of lemons cut, then you can rely on this heter. Now, this is something that, this is something specifically by lemon juice. By onions or garlic or all these things have 2 upgrades of a problem. First of all, they are more charif, they're more sharp. And number 2, not necessarily the guy was chopping a lot of onions. And this is on top of the fact that you don't even necessarily know that he used a used knife. It could be that he didn't even use a used knife. Or maybe he has a dedicated knife for this. So by lemons, there is ways to be makel.